Emergency stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We are live now.
Always
Always
have to
is,
play
isn't
first.
Sorry,
That's not
Jenna.
good. That's first. So we're gonna have all these tools on.
Come on.
I have all the stuff comes up for Sherry for the meeting. She asked me to bring it. She's gonna be here. Huh?
Wrong.
She had me print all the originals,
No, it didn't.
so that's.
I got one today.
And it's even-
That was at work though.
No, I didn't have to work today. You get mad.
Yeah, we're
Completely.
unmuted. Yeah. Seven, you have your warning.
Okay, it's 5:30.
Thank you for putting.
Go ahead and get started. I'll just let the committee know now that I have a little announcement. And Roger, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but the Opportunity School is going to do their second annual Dress Up Coshocton that we did last year. It'll be on December 13th, beginning at 4:30. It's where we hang the coats on the trees, socks and gloves, and people come around and get it, pick up whatever they need. People can drop off gently used coats, hats, gloves, scarves, and socks at Coshocton High School at the 4th floor on December 6th or 7th. And if anyone
From-
needs any other information,
4 to 6.
yeah, from 4 to 6. If anybody needs any information, they can call the Opportunity School at 622-3600 and ask for Diana McKee. She's actually the one that started this.
Phone number again?
Yeah, what's
622-3600.
Thank you.
And that's December 6th.
6 and 7. So we're
To
collecting.
drop things off, and then people, we're actually going to do it on the 13th. Our students, I think we didn't realize we'd have such a good turnout last year, and I think this year we'll probably do it around the court square as well. So we ran out of trees. So it was a great turnout.
You're gonna have sufficient volunteers?
Yes,
just
all of
use
our
our
students. So we have plenty. And I'll announce that again at our council meeting.
Not only gently used, but new.
Yeah.
We will take new too.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started with the committee meeting. I know that, but I want to start off with the ordinances and just, we had some additions, and I have those on there on the ordinance part. Guys, and Sherry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we have 3 that need passed tonight and the ones from last week. Okay, those all need to be passed tonight. We have 3 that are on the second reading that need passed, and then 4 tonight.
The ordinance number, let me find it for first reading, 4921.
Yes,
It can take its course.
it can take its
Yeah,
course.
because
Okay.
I don't have those totally finalized yet because we're getting close. I'm just waiting to see
No
how our
problem.
insurance comes in. So 4921 can take its course, but
Okay.
50, 51, 45, 46, yes, please.
Good.
Is that my phone? I don't know.
So while
I don't have that call.
while we'll come back to the ordinances. I just wanted to make sure I let everybody know that we needed this, what we needed passed emergency wise. Mark, are we okay on 47 and 48 to take its course? So we'll come back as we have some work to do on the lot sizes. But on the finance committee, Tom, are you okay with everything on the finance committee? Anything
Yes.
from Sherry?
Yeah, she provides everything.
Yeah. Now, the manual, is that, we're ready to go on that?
Yes, the councils,
Yeah.
that can, if you want to pass that emergency tonight, I mean, might be good. I mean, unless you wanted to take its course.
Would that be the UGG policies?
The,
Do we have to?
Well, I thought I noticed on there, it
It
says
says emergency.
emergency on the thing.
it's probably just standard long here, but
Okay,
It doesn't have to be passed emergency. My recommendation is we don't do it.
okay.
I was just kind of waiting to pay the essential bonus,
If you need it, then
but I
that's
mean,
fine.
it's, I kind of wanted to have all
Yeah,
the
I
policies in
wanted-
place before we even paid the essential bonus,
Then let's do it.
essential workers
Okay.
bonus,
So
so
we're gonna pass
if we
that one.
don't, then that just delays that more, and I
So
keep
do it.
getting asked for it.
I'm gonna probably use that for Christmas. morning.
Around the corner.
Once again, if something has to be passed emergency, is different terminology than if it has to be passed in one night. Correct?
Correct. Ordinances are required to have 3 separate readings unless council
Deemed-
waives that obligation.
Correct.
That doesn't mean it passes emergency.
Got it.
But as the emergency clause on there, that means it passes as soon as the mayor signs it without the 10-day waiting period that's required plus advertisement. So they're
Thank
2
you.
separate things. Typically, however, emergency ordinances pass in one night, so.
Yeah,
We good there? All right. Okay. Which one you want to do first? You want to do lot sizes, Max?
Yeah, we can.
Don't sound so excited.
We, had a meeting the other day with, what was there, Bob, Roger, myself, you, Tom, on this, where we're getting these lots I talked about last time that just don't meet any of our existing sizes to build houses on. So we're in the process right now reviewing these ordinances that are in place and see what we can do to make these so these lots become buildable lots. I think like where the plots are laid out on H Street.
Yeah.
Don't meet anything today, and a lot of our towns laid out in that same time period. Until, you get out in the 3rd and 4th wards, which were built in later years, but we discussed, cutting down on the road front, how much road frontage. I think right now it's 50-foot minimum, cutting that down. We cut down the side, what the side requirements are right now. I believe it's an aggregate of 25 feet on the combined between the two. There's no way if these lots you'd ever, a lot of these houses set probably the width of a driveway apart, so.
Right, because we all feel that just to support Max here, I think I would rather see something new on there and a structure on there that is
Mhm.
generating tax dollars than sitting empty with nothing going on.
Couldn't you just make like a 6 foot, like say you can't build 6 feet on property line? I mean, could we do something like that just to keep?
or grandfather it for lots that were set up X number of years ago.
Once you get into it, is years ago, everybody built up.
Right.
It's all 2-story houses. And when you went out to the 3rd and 4th ward, everything become ranch houses, which were very wide. We talked about, using the existing footprint maybe of the existing house, but that's gonna be a very small 1-story house, obviously. We do have 1,000-foot minimums, I believe, in those neighborhoods as well. There's homes you can build now that are under. I can take you to West Lafayette and show you a very nice house the guy built. It's probably 800 square feet. It sets on an undersized lot that they go through the same thing with. So, I don't have a preference other than I just want to make sure that we don't be a lot of unusable ground sitting around town that we're having to mow.
Do we have to have something on the books that says this is what you have to build, or can we just determine that by each lot? Can we say, okay, let's take into consideration this lot, okay, you can build this on that?
The way it stands right now is you can go to zoning. You know,
Mhm.
or
Zoning appeals.
you'd have to have a variance hearing every time. And
Right.
that's what we want to get away
Right,
from,
okay.
is that whole having a hearing
Mhm.
every time. And when you look at a lot of the lots, a lot of what we have don't meet any of our ordinance. So, I mean, from start to finish, we need to just come up with everything from maybe even switching R1, R2s, you know, and just solidify one thing. It's gonna be, my suggestion is just, you know, make the square footage of whatever the footprint of the lot is,
Mhm.
make the square footage fit on that lot.
Right.
And then do like either do a 6 foot on each side,
Right.
you know, do something. But it's just how everything was laid out is where it becomes complicated.
Not to interrupt, but you
because-
also had a good point the other day of being so far back off the streets of the utilities.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just a minimum, you know, 10 foot off the utilities, so someone, you know, I see it a lot in town where people have either concreted in the tree lawn,
Mhm.
or they build out, you know, and when you do that, when we have to come in, you have a water break, we're gonna rip whatever you did, we're gonna rip it up, and a lot of people don't realize by law, that's our right of way. It's their property, but it's our right of way, and as long as we're off of that right of way enough to where we can fix issues, so we don't tear something up, because we have people call all the time, can I put a flower bed? Sure, but I mean, if we have to come out with a backhoe, your flower bed's gonna be gone, so, and there's a lot of areas in town that porches are on city,
Mhm.
on the right of way, like, so we've never, it's like, I think in the 60s, Mac said that this was revised, and
1962.
I think that was when the Stewart edition was being built, and no one thought, hey, this is one size fits all, this is not just an, or you could do, I mean, you could do the separate wards, you could say, you know, third and fourth ward, here's what they are in first and second, or, you know, this area, and that, with that, you're gonna have different, so then it's all different. So to me, it's just make it the footprint of the house, you have this much square foot on a lot, you can build 50% of that lot, you could do it that way, and then it's gotta be, you know, 6 foot on each side away from the structure. The problem with knowing what was there is on the GIS system, it's there if it's standing, but when it becomes an empty lot, that diagram is not there anymore. So it's there for a little bit, but then once they update it, it's gone. So you don't know, you know, unless you can still see where, but most of the time you're not. It's just gonna be grown, so.
And
To me,
as we get
it's-
into people wanting to develop,
Right.
yeah, there's a potential for a smaller house development to win on the country club.
Mhm.
And the initial plans show 6 building lots, but they're being dictated because of the road frontage.
Right.
Where he didn't have to have as much road frontage, he could probably get additional lots in there. Because these lots kind of go in a pie shape, so to try to make sure he has that 50 foot, he'll have to limit himself how many building lots he can have, or if, that'd be another thing to look at, because we want houses built, I mean.
Yeah, say, I'm opposed to the 50 feet thing. That's way too much. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, your house, you probably got.
I got what, 4 feet, and I'm on the road.
You probably got 30 or so,
You
yeah.
know.
And
Yeah,
Out my front door.
And no
Count
setback.
From the middle of the road.
Right.
Is where.
Well, when
it's
those houses was built, there was probably no ordinances in
Right,
place for
right.
that.
I don't think my
Did
house
you get
meets
any
any lot.
Probably.
That's what I
You're
just
not
got
20 feet
text
off the
from her.
road,
And I
50
don't have,
feet.
yeah, I don't have 10 feet behind my.
In
house
addition-
either, So, I mean, it's.
Kind of two subjects with, we've been talking with things about stormwater utility, but, they're going through the same issues right now. And so trying to get a meeting with, Chip Saunders, who's similar job to what I have, And I've asked Tom and myself and Harold, since it'd be through the day, I know everybody else works, so I figured we can get down and report back to the rest of you guys on what they're doing down
Yeah,
there.
kind
So
of use what Zanesville's doing.
But Harold did try to
because
follow up
they're
with Chip.
so.
last week he sent an email and he called him again today. I know he's a busy guy, so as soon as I get something, we'll get set up down there, Tom. Get in.
Is there a negative to doing it 6 feet into either side?
I think
Away
you,
from
I think you
curves.
need the width of a driveway, so if you did want to have, a lot of those houses have garages back against alleys, I think you're gonna want some egress into your garage at least, so. At least one side of the house, I think you should have the width of the driveway is probably 8 feet. I mean,
I'm kind of with Chad. I think that 50 feet needs to be.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah, I think so too.
I don't know, Dave, you might want to speak to upper the village, but
Yeah, they're lots from 49 and a half, like you say, 50 foot. But the one comment, no, Mr. Chad would come, why you want the rules? If I'm an investor wanting to buy this lot, I'm gonna wanna know ahead of time.
Oh,
what the
yeah.
Rules are before I put my money
Right.
down.
Right.
So I think having that, but as Max said, up there behind Circle K, that's a story and a half, right, Max, a 2-story, little mini house, and that was small, I think that was only a 50 by 75 lot. And it fits there all nice, it's got a garage,
Mhm.
the house, kind of a combination room, metal construction, but it looks very nice, it sits well on the lot.
I'm not opposed to these metal constructions, barnuminiums,
I'm
what
not
they're calling
either,
it, very nice.
My brother's building one.
Not really.
I'm
So
impressed.
more to come on that, I guess.
Okay,
So
all right.
we'll get that meeting lined up. You want me to just go ahead and go? or-
No, let's do,
Sorry.
that's okay. Because the other thing that we talked about when we met is the trailers and campers.
Bob and I are working on that. We've got a footprint laid out for the ordinance, and Bob has some corrections he wants to make on it before it goes any further. But basically, we're looking at making them cover them, getting rid of any hookups, that type of thing, and then rear lots, not side lots. Just to make it so we know nobody's living out. Campers have to be stored in a closed position. They'll have to have license plates, they gotta be operational, but he has some tweaking he wants to do on it.
Would you like that to be on the agenda for next meeting for first reading, or would you like a completed draft so you can look at it prior to?
Yeah, I'd like to.
I'd just do a completed draft
Yeah.
to look at it. Is that what you would?
Yes.
That'd be great. Anything else on that? Does anybody? Okay, continue, Max.
So we'll talk about the houses. Like I say, we're also in some discussions with Glenn and Kaylee on stormwater utilities. That's one of our worst, if not the worst infrastructures we have in town. The EPA dictated, that we have to control our stormwater flow through the rivers. And a lot of, our infrastructure is 120 plus years old. It's just caving in. We've been working on a little bit as best we can with our people, but we just can't keep up with it. So we'll be also addressing that. Zanesville's initiated stormwater utility several years ago. There's none since us reinventing the wheel. We got a lot of information from them, and as well as Mount Vernon, who's instituted it last August. So it's something I'd be asking council to take a look at as we move forward into that. I've been working on, as we could get paving, luckily the new hospital being built, they are still running some hot mix. So we've been patching as best we can as we get hot mix, working on 20th Street. I know he's in there today working. I don't think we're putting asphalt down. there.
That's scheduled for Wednesday,
That's
they
what
were
I
grinding
thought.
it, chewing it up today.
Yeah, that project's looking very good up there. We've been doing several manholes starting out this week that have collapsed out in the streets. Was it 12th and Adams, East Main? I know we finally got the one in at Earl's. I don't know, anybody seen the little cone, the little lot, we've been driving over a hole for 5 or 6 years, well, the hole's gone, we actually have a cap there, so I look at that as progress. And, let's see, the other thing, we briefly touched on, Tom and the group was, we may have the possibility to make some money off of cell tower installation with Verizon. It'd be down at the water treatment plant on Bridge Street, in behind the tanks. It's not a huge footprint of ground. It's ground we just mow now. Excuse me, we have the possibility to make some good revenue off of that. Right now I have Tim Collins' group, Scott Sheffler that we use for our, that's a big law firm, or Scott Scriven, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Sheffler. That's one of those guys that advertise on TV. But anyway, he's having his guy that's done a lot of work in that area to make sure we get everything that we want coming to us, you know, the type of sign-on bonuses. And that kind of stuff.
I've talked to the school as well to kind of.
Yeah, they've been very good getting us
They set
information.
precedent. Yeah, so the buyout agreement as well as the original agreement.
So more to come on that subject. Like I say, it's a piece of ground we would never do anything with, and if we can get some revenue off of it, good for us, so. And leaf collections, big right now, we put out the list, but with that new truck, Tony can just drive around and suck them up quick. I mean, it's nothing like what, the way we used to do that, so I'm hoping they kind of got out of my area today, because people really worked on their leaves over the weekend, but I think people will see that we'll be very efficient this year. Now we got a year under our belts with that truck, so. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to report.
So on the catch basins and stormwater, are you gonna get an analysis done on that?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be part of, I'll talk to Harold. The first thing is you GPS your entire area for impervious areas. It does not allow rainwater to seep in. And then you go from there. So that's the first step. Harold was hesitant to give me a ballpark until we talked to the next time. So. And we did have to, we'll have to reschedule for Roscoe. We had to cancel our, what was it, October 29th meeting, I think, with them because of the governor coming out to jail and all that. So
Yeah.
we'll get that meeting rescheduled with them. We haven't forgot about Roscoe for sure. So we did get some patching done up on Spitler Hill. It's not done yet, but we're up there working on it. It'll get us through the next paving season. So
Anybody else?
I just want to mention, Max, a couple of pretty bad holes up in 8th Street. If you're out, if you got the mix,
yeah.
to go ahead and patch
I'm
those
in
up.
front of 434.
I'm sorry,
I'm in front of 434.
436. Yeah, up in that area
I
there.
was driving down the street the other day and I said, you better get that. Mike's gonna be on. So
Those are the
I-
kind of
I-
snowplows catching them.
I called Angie. I drove up that way the other day and I called Angie and told her to put that on the list. So
Okay.
hopefully you get pothole fixed before snow flies.
I shouldn't, Chinese restaurant, talked to Don Wells today. It looks like that they will not be able to get it down before Thanksgiving. It'll be the week after Thanksgiving. AP, it's still got 3 power lines going into it. They'll be taking out, and then there's probably what looks to me like the last old street light in Coshocton is in front of that. We're gonna take it down as part of this and not replace it for now. We contracted the AP for our street lights. We find out that we need it, but I'm guessing behavioral health's gonna put up some nice lighting in that parking lot, so it's probably gonna light that area up a lot better than that 1910 street light does. So, and I've talked to the business owners because we will have a day there when part of 6th will be closed for them to do the demo on that building.
Max, I know I texted today about Cassingham
Cassingham.
Hollow and Otsego. What is the plan?
Well, right,
Try to
right.
divert that?
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't test as high for E. coli as what I would thought it would. It's about 50 parts per million. That looks like where the water is coming from, is various septic systems down through there, getting in there. So we're gonna have to try to get that water over into that lock that kind of circles around and catch basin there, so.
Just afraid we don't get it taken care of before it starts freezing. It's gonna be
But
an
it was freezing the other morning.
accident scene. Thanks.
One more, Max. 10th and Oak Avenue.
Drainage.
Yeah, that drain there.
We're actually, that's on the.
Is that on the,
they're
is that on
gonna
the
try to
to-do
get the
list?
paving. They are going to run drainage from, Cindy Abood is gonna be the most happiest person ever once that gets done, because it is nasty up there. We applied for a grant, we didn't get it, so our own people will be doing that at some point. I think by the end of the year. So they'll do, I think, did he say all four corners catch basin?
That's what we're gonna do, and then take it
And then
down to
run
11.
the line down Oak to 11,
11.
and then there's an outfall 11.
After the Red Sea.
There's no curbing along there. They do, what are they gonna do?
They're gonna go with the drainage, they
Just
will put it, they'll do a catch basin on each corner, and then they'll run the actual line and the grass line.
Okay.
And they'll run it down to,
I think we got enough fall, we don't need curbing, it'll direct, if we get all four catch basins in, it'll direct that water there.
Okay.
That won't, the original plan was to bring that clear from Chestnut Street. There around Sensational Tans, now you see where we did put our own catch basin in there to try to help that area. We'll see this winter. I was kind of disappointed we didn't get that, it's, the term was, it wasn't a sexy enough project, but
Okay.
so we'll do what we can ourselves. I think we can, it's what I see us do on Hydraulic Avenue. I think we'll make a lot of inroads there.
Max, since you mentioned Sixth Street and the Chinese restaurant, considering where I'm working now, right there in the corner, well, with the bank, will that be cutting off the entrance to
yeah,
the bank?
we'll probably shut down the bank for a week or two.
All right, I get a vacation,
No,
The bank will remain open.
but entrance
The
into,
bank will remain, yes.
Thank
it'll be
you.
fine. You'll have to come in off Walnut. You won't be coming up from Maine.
well,
You'll
of
come in
course,
off Walnut, Yeah, but
you have to go. the
Rust
wrong-
is really the ones that's really gonna affect. I kind of hate it right there at Christmas time, but she says no problem. They want to see the building down, so.
It'll be what, a couple days? they
At the
should.
most.
The
It may only be
road,
one
probably
day with the
one
road
day,
shut.
Right, the rough one day.
Yeah, it won't take Albert very long, so.
Yeah, the road, you can see the road from our.
Is there a plan for
cameras here.
that lower part of Ferry Falls that city acquired?
We're going to try to get some patch on there before winter, yes. Yes, that's on the list to try to get done this week, actually, yes. Yep. Any other questions?
What about that property on 1802 Chestnut that we got the letter on?
Oh, where the,
Yeah,
The land bank.
Well, the land
land
bank's
bank's gonna get that.
okay.
And then nothing can be done until it's released from evidence, so I would love to tear it down right now, but.
Yeah, and it'll be May before the next auditor's sale, so it will be, I think it's 22nd of May, so they won't take ownership until then.
Make a nice building lot for somebody. It's got some bad juju now, but nice
oh,
lot.
yeah, right.
Anybody else have anything? Know that I emailed Mike about some of the rules and the committees, Mark, the definitions. There's some things in those that I think need to be on the committee definitions. I know when I spoke with Sherry, there's some that need to come out, that something about $100 or more that doesn't need okayed. So the committee needs to go over that and look at that and take some of that stuff out that doesn't fit us. Like with the traffic lights and things along those lines, if that stuff needs to be taken out, I'll look at it. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and we can send it to you, take a look,
Yeah.
let Bob take a look at it, and make sure we're good. Just like to clean that stuff up because of, you know, we don't need it.
Right.
We need to get rid of it. We just share it amongst the committee online and like, sorry, I couldn't get that on my iPad to download. or anything
Oh,
else.
that's okay, I got it, and I just converted it to Word and I was able to.
Anybody else? I know next time, Chad, he's gonna have a report about, give some information about what he's working on with the music events next summer. So I know he's got some information on that. And maybe the Rules Committee can have some stuff and we can continue to work on some information for that. Dave, you have anything? Nothing tonight? Mark, you have anything?
No, nothing, no.
Easy week, huh?
Actually, last week I was at a YOTA meeting with the director of Jobs Ohio, director of Ohio Southeast, which is our region of Jobs Ohio, over at Salt Fork on Friday. Today, actually, I was at Hocking College for Appalachia Forward, the governor's office of Appalachia. John Kerry was there, the development director, Lydia Mahalik was there, a lot of other mayors from our region, just talking about all the money from the state, from the feds, which we don't have guidance on yet. Really looking, have talked to a couple organizations about doing a strategic master plan for our city, maybe even a downtown master plan. I've been looking at other communities' master plans. Some are 25 pages, some are 234 pages. So I think with the money and the money pools coming from every direction, I think we're ready as far as utility wise on that end of the projects knowing, but I think we need to come up with a strategic master plan. I don't know of any ever plans that have ever been created for the city of Coshocton, and I really I know there's a land use plan for the county that was done not too long ago, probably within the last 5 years, but we really, I think on our end as a city, need to come up with a strategic master plan and really look into maybe a position where that's what that person, one aspect of that person's position is figuring out where the money's coming from, how we can connect dollars, as long as about 100 other job duties. So something I'm going to be looking at, state capital bill projects. They really haven't set a deadline on that, but we need to come up with something. I think last time state capital budgets every 2 years. I think last time Shopkins County got $300,000 whopping dollars out of the state capital budget bill. So I'd like to really leverage a project, 2 or 3. A lot of that just is me talking to state leaders, which I could call them right now and they're going to answer their phone. So I feel like we have a good relationship with the state. It's just figuring out what area we want to focus on or what project we want to work on. So another thing I was thinking about today.
Do you have an area what you're leaning toward, or you just?
No, not really. I mean, we have a million things we could do. That's why I kind of want to get the strategic. I want to get a plan, a good plan, and execute it, make I don't want a plan that, great, we have a plan, now it's sitting on the shelf. I
something you
want a
can carry
plan
out,
that's
yeah.
workable, that,
Right.
and I think with that, I think we can get the council involvement, community involvement, involvement from, age groups and different people that we could get involved in that. I think that's something too that maybe if I have a company, if I get a quote, maybe I can get some involvement with the Shopkins Foundation helping with costs. I'm not sure it's a viable option. So there's so many things right now, we're in the Port Authority has a Sherry Gibson's working there through, I believe, the Rise Ohio, through Ohio University. That might not be the program. It's something for coal impacted communities. Today, they mentioned a power, it's called a power program. With COVID dollars, with HVIL 2, with the broadband, there's 250 million with that. With HB 168, there's another 250 million for water, wastewater. The Build Back Better Act is, I think, what they're calling the federal infrastructure package. That's more than $1 trillion. With the state capital bill, Senate Bill 225 is a tax credit. Right now, like with downtown, you're at, I believe it's 25% state tax, income tax credit for renovation, historic tax credit. They're talking about moving that to 35%. So that's on the horizon. So that will help with downtown as well. There's right now, the issues that I'm seeing are there's so much money, like it's really navigating that money. And like I told them today, and I always tell them, like, we want that money. So it's what do we need to do to leverage that money? And we have plenty of infrastructure projects, but I think that's where master plan, you can put some money in the downtown. Someone said downtown, and I agree completely. If you have an apple and the core is rotten, then the rest of the apple's not good either. So we really, we have momentum downtown. We need to keep that core when people are driving through. That needs to be definitely top priority to where we make that good. And I think we're turning that corner. There's just a lot of things going on with money. So we need to definitely either get some extra help in my office or get a company who can, consult, who has the ability to write us a good strategic plan. I think I could honestly look at the plans that I've seen from other communities and write it. It's not anything that's like the end all be. I mean, it's really not that complicated, but I think the leverage is having that person at the state house fighting for money, because it's going to become a battle.
The problem with those federal dollars is that there's no, they haven't put any restrictions or anything on it. They don't even really have to give you a plan.
Right.
And you have
There's
to fight.
nothing, right.
You gotta fight that.
Well, you just basically need someone there saying, hey, that
Right.
need, I can do on my end. I'm confident, like, if I need something from the state, I can call, the state house and say, call the rep or call the senator. I can call, and I'm confident, but that's only part of getting that money. And that's where, we need to be represented daily and really make that push on creating that money funneling to us. right now, we're negotiating our employee health coverage. Right, they came in with a 19% increase and I've negotiated down to a 10% increase, so almost done with that. You know, over 5 years, if you pay 20% increases, your insurance increased 100%. So I am getting ready to close the deal on that. And that's all I have. I mean, I have a million other things, but you don't want to be here all night.
Mark, I don't know what this gentleman does now, but Jeremy Scott, remember Jeremy?
Yeah, I think actually he's
Not the radio guy, but
he's actually a lobbyist. in
he's still doing
Washington.
that. That might be a
Right.
avenue for some connections in DC.
I have, and that would be a good connection in DC. I actually had talked to another Shopkins graduate who worked in Columbus, who's an attorney who's starting his own firm, and I think that would be good for us. That cost is not huge because he's just starting out and he wants to help his hometown. There are other groups that are astronomical, but those people have connections that they're very connected. So to me, it's what's affordable, you know, but we can't jump over $1 to get a dime. So it's, you know, that's kind of it. Just saying we don't have the money for that doesn't get us anywhere, because how much are we going to lose if we don't have someone, you know?
I know Jeremy's been there quite a while and he's probably pretty well connected, but I don't know who he
I've
works for and what the
I've
cost
had
would be.
conversations with them. So that's the
Just a
kind of
thought.
people you need
Yeah.
to know, right?
Yep.
Mark, I've had a couple questions about the Wi-Fi on Main Street. Can you explain to me how that's going to work?
So my original plan, it's not gonna work like I originally intended, okay? Because what has happened is there was a bill that was passed. My original intention was to start a municipal internet for the city and start downtown and build out. Since then, they passed a bill where municipalities can't be involved in selling internet. So right now, there's a connection that needs to be connected from one side of the street to the other. I talked to Andrew at Synced and he said about 2 weeks he could have it up and running. They've had issues, you know, of course, supply chain issues, labor issues. He's been talking to the contractor, the electrical contractor, and hasn't gotten anywhere. So since then, the light bulb came on and said Plan B. So I have reached out to Ohio TT, who is working on the counties. So we've been playing phone tag and I have not talked to them, but my idea is, here's the system, lease it. So I probably shouldn't have went out publicly and said that before I ever talked to them, but that's my intention, is for Ohio TT to take that system over that way. Or Andrew, I want to set up meeting with Andrew with Sync Consulting and Ohio TT to see what we can do, because we can't be involved.
So the finished product will be a subscription type.
Yes, yeah. Basically, you buy the bandwidth basically, and then you sell it. And to me, as long as it won't be our cost, it will be whatever the cost is. And that's why I'm hopeful that Ohio TT will take that project over. The project's done. Just the city is not going to make money off of it because the House bill was passed. So that kind of just killed all my dreams right there, but it's just the way it works. And, you know, we didn't have enough money to go lobby at the State House and say, you're not going to do that. So I'm hopeful that will work, and everything by the end of the year should be complete. How it's going to run, I have no idea.
Okay, thank you.
It will, some way it will be on. Sherry looks hopeful.
No, I'm actually just wondering, are there any implications then with because with that being paid for out of the CARES Act fund money. Because I thought the whole gist of the project and using the CARES Act money was to have Wi-Fi available to anybody downtown, because workers who were, had to work from home and
Well,
lived out
it'll
to,
still be there. Okay, it'll still be there and it'll be operational. Who manages it, who administrates it will not be the city. It's is the answer to that. No, it'll be there. It just will not be administered by the city.
but then would people be able to come downtown once it's fully up and running and just jump on,
Yeah,
and
nothing.
they won't have to
nothing
pay for
changes.
anything,
No,
I guess is what I
but
want to say,
business,
right?
but business, if they want a certain bandwidth, the business, that was the original intention. The business will have to pay for that, but they will not be paying the city of Coshocton.
Okay, that was one of my understandings initially, was that somebody could come downtown,
Yeah, and
park
just
on
be
Main
able,
Street and have
No,
Wi-Fi
they
available.
will, right,
Okay,
that,
okay.
nothing changes on the project. Just
Okay.
who, yeah, nothing, that, you'll still be able to get free Wi-Fi. But if you're a business, it will be a charge to get
Okay.
an upgraded bandwidth.
Okay.
if
the
they want
service.
something
Right, if you
beyond
want
what's
beyond
set there
what's
now,
free, right,
they'll
right,
have
right.
an amount. to pay.
And it'll
Okay.
be hardwired into their building.
Okay,
So
good.
It just, to me, it's the logistics of how we can't administer it.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
kind of, I don't know if it's gonna be, hopefully it's just a lease and we're done. To me, as long as it works, I really don't care how it happens. Like, that's kind of where that project, I can't wait to see it done and then I can move on to something else. But it's been a lot of just supply chain and then just labor. So
Yeah.
like everything else, someone said that today, if I never hear supply chain issues, labor issues, or COVID ever again, like, I will be happy. And I was thinking, yes. And that's all I have. You have any more questions?
You guys were also emailed his building permit summary and his money's received in October, right? Get busy and start doing something there.
I know, yeah.
Progress can't wait.
Right.
That's right.
I didn't say how long progress was gonna take. I just said I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Right.
Max, you have anything else to add? Okay. Bob, you have anything?
Only that I was asked to take a look at the farm animal ordinance. And did I send you a draft of it?
No.
It's possible you might have a draft to look at the next week. I'm struggling with the therapy animal sections. Originally, we were just gonna take that out, and I'm worried what potential litigation that might hold. So I may, instead of taking it out, regulate it a little bit more.
Can we put in regulating it, who needs to prescribe that?
That's exactly what I was thinking about, as well as maybe a yearly fee. But I need to look at other cities and see what they're up to. So you may or may not have it for next week.
I think that's my next career move, is to become a therapy animal. If this doesn't work out.
Sherry emailed us all the reports for October. I'll make note of that in council. So it gets in the minutes. You have other stuff for us? You're
All
up.
right. Getting that time of year again. We have additional appropriations for the retirement fund. We've had, I believe, 3 retirements. So I need to have an additional appropriations of $20,000 to finish out this last one. And I don't know if anybody else retiring for this year. The cash is there, just not the appropriations are there. I have several transfers. I can run down them quickly. I'm still working on some, still going through. So you'll have a pretty big list of transfers Like a health extra nurse, I needed $15,000. There was some shuffling around with her, so there was additional pay increase, additional hours. So do you want me to run down through where I'm taking them from and so forth? I mean, I'll just give you the basics of it. Health extra nurse, 15,000, because I'm picking and I'm just going down through all the lines, trying to find what I can. Health employee insurance, I need 10,000. I think I'm taking that from 3 different places. Health director of nursing, 3,000. Street, I need to get with Angie because they need some in their PRS, their gasoline line, street salaries, fire insurance, employee insurance, $1,000. Property code PRS, I need $200. Water PRS, about 23,000. Water filtration salaries, 31,000. Water office salaries, 2,500. Water treatment vehicle fuel, 3,000. Sewage salaries, 2,500. Sewage salaries, 47, and 47,000. So, and like I said, this is gonna clean everything up for the year, hopefully. So I'll keep going through, but I'll just add to the list as I go, and then I'll just get it all ready for you and send it to you before, like I usually do before, so Cherry can get it into the ordinance. Then it's also the time of year again where we have 3 pay ordinances going to expire here at the end of the year. So keep in mind, you only have, next meeting, the 22nd, you have December 13th. Traditionally, that's the last meeting of the year because the next one will fall on the 27th of December, and that's actually a city holiday this year. So whatever you want there, but the elected official salary for the treasurer will need to be set for the next 4 years. So 22, 23, 24, 22, 23, 24. I have to count on my fingers, 25. That needs to be set. The current year salary is $10,619. Then you need the elected officials for your city council members, city council president, and clerk of council. So that will be set for the next 2 years. And then we have our non-bargaining salaries. And Mark and I were going over a spreadsheet and getting that together. So I guess just, what's.
Do you have a general idea of what you want to bump up, or is it already set?
No, we're gonna bump it down.
Oh, okay. It don't matter to me.
Yours.
Well, I mean, council and city treasurer, I know unions, they were 2.25. There might have been, I don't know if there were a couple equity adjustments. I mean, we've had that before. Non-bargaining, there's a few equity adjustments being looked at, still talking about, maybe taking a position from an annual salary to an hourly rate. So with that, but I mean, I feel okay that, between Mark and I, if we're working on the non-bargaining, we can get those to you, and, those would be our recommendations. But when it comes to treasurer and council, you guys might want to chime in on that. Or what I've done in the past before, I have thrown out different scenarios and showed you, like, if it's 2 1/4, 2 1/4, 2 1/4, what it would be out, or 2, 3,
When was the
4,
last
what-
time council had a raise?
It was on the last time in
Okay.
year 2021. I'll tell you, in 20,
I'd suggest we
And
move the
8
ordinance chairman to about 60,000.
I second that.
Yeah, how about if for that, if I get together and then I can communicate with council.
yeah, in, I have it here, ordinance in 1819 council was $7,750. It went up to 8,321 and then 8,529. And clerk 5675 and went up to 6,093 to 6245. But yeah, I can, whatever, do the same and get with you.
Thank you.
But I would say you might, I don't know if you want to have something on the agenda. If not, you're gonna have to do it in 3 readings on the 13th, pass it all emergency.
Right. So
Unless you want to say you'll have, that's, I mean, it's up to you guys,
Since you
whatever
have
you
some-
want to do.
as soon as you have some free time, and then I'm sure they'll check their emails and stuff, and then I can communicate with you with the email.
I would not like to do it all in one evening.
Agreed. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Free.
Yep.
I'll come down.
Okay.
Get a hold of these guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I misspoke on 47 and 48. Well, 47, I'd like to get done.
Yeah, run over that.
4721.
It's one of them days. 4721, I'd like to get that done. It's just cut and dry, simple. I got quarter needs to be covered underneath health insurance for next year. There's a month basically where he would not have health coverage for 1 month. So we're going to do an MOU to where he's covered. Really not a big deal. There's no trickery. It's more of a technicality than anything else.
Yeah. And confirmed with Mary Beth, I spoke with her to see if there was any way around it. The county has a 30-day waiting period eligible on
Sure.
day 31.
Basically,
So
we're going to cover his insurance for a month.
keep him on our plan for the month of January.
Okay, that's 4721.
The sludge removal, I have no idea. You need sludge removal done. So yes, that needs to be put on there. Sorry.
For tonight.
Yeah.
So that needs to pass.
So all of them need to pass.
What's that?
That really was passed in 3 readings, so we can get that out.
So we'll just pass them all.
Everything with 4921 sounds like it.
Well. I mean,
Yeah, for Roger to be clerk.
Oh, you got it. Ron.
You got it.
Hieroglyphics and like that.
Everything except for 49.
Normally you have to translate it later, so we don't care.
Remember, just say true.
I realize that, but then you have to suspend the rules. Second reading. 4 pages.
So is everybody okay with me just emailing then the list of transfers and stuff
Yes.
after I get it all
Yes,
done?
ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, sheriff's report. I know Sheriff Crawford's not here. What do you think of that report? It seems like it gets longer and longer every
Yeah, it
time.
does. It's good, though.
thing. It's good.
I was out a couple weeks ago with them, and I'm telling you, the nonsense, people say we want something done with like drugs. If people could fight with their neighbors like politely, and control their kids and, just the nonsense and slow down when they're driving.
It takes up their time.
Yeah, it does. It just, there's a lot of, they run on a lot of nonsense and people, someone told me today they were on a call, 10-year-old didn't want to go to school. So call me. I want the public to know they can call me and I'll take care of the kid.
We'll get
Don't
him to
call the
school.
cops.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll get him to
I don't,
school.
it's
My bad, I
amazing.
get the concert.
I could write a book on the call. I could call Tom Mills, he'll get you to school, right? Yeah. But it just is, there's a lot of.
But I just look at it, I just noticed the reports and everything, the traffic stops and stuff is definitely increased. So that's a good thing. Jeff, thanks again for emailing that report. I think it's more of what we were looking for. I'm not sure, does anybody else
Yeah, I
have any
like it.
comments
Thank you.
on that? I think
It's nice having addresses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And then if something's not done, ask Jeff, because he can clarify, like, everyone thinks like it's reported, you go out and then the people want to like interpret the law and tell you, like, I can do that because that's exactly what the ordinance.
well, I think what'll help with council now is what my feedback from council was, what we were getting, we didn't know.
Right.
That things had already been done. Now we know that things have been done and we can we can let them know.
And then,
that.
right,
That
and if
helps.
we gotta take some
Helps you
kind of,
guys.
if you guys need to take legislative action to get something done quicker, then that's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really point blank. And a lot of times it's hard because people have danced around the law for, since they've been kids.
1895.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, they know it. They know what they can't, it's amazing sometimes.
Anybody have anything else?
Just- We hadn't been talking about code, I wouldn't have thought of this, but what can we do with the old Ansel Edmont property?
The Lancel Edmont property changed hands.
Again,
So there's a company out of Gahanna that has it now. They kind of act like they might be receptive to work with because I sent them a letter and told them about the weeds, and probably 3 days after the letter, they were up there mowing the weeds, mowing the grass. I've now contacted them about an open building in the back that Marvin Oldbridge is having issues that they're going through an open building in the back and breaking into his son's building. So they would probably got that letter Monday. So I'm waiting to see if I ask them to close that opening off with chain link fence or something. I put them in contact with the company that takes buildings down, salvages the bricks. It's the same ones that are supposedly going to be working on the glove factory. So that way, that project has started, as you can see that there's bricks stacked up. Well, now that Stacy Brooks has sold the buildings, I'm not sure what these people are going to do. And the only contact I have with them is by mail back and forth, but I haven't had a phone number before.
Be a
What's
nice,
it-
be a nice new little house development.
what's the chances that that property will ever be totally cleaned up?
I think you'll see that property down to the concrete at some time. I don't know how soon, but at some point in time. And then once it's to that point, I know that the Port Authority had thoughts of trying to get just that, a senior living development put in there since close proximity to the hospital there. So
That could be a good area for a small industrial park itself.
it-
I always hear we don't have any land in
A
town.
lot of times, though, companies want 50,000 square foot, and then they want to be able to expand. So that's a lot of our
That's why I said
problem
it's small.
there. Right.
Yeah.
But it's probably a block from Walnut to East Main and the railroad's 14th that could probably be purchased because there's some rental housing in there.
See, we can knock Novelty down, we could knock, and then railroad tracks out there.
So there is, the next time you meet with Tiffany, there is 500,000 of brownfield money and demo money coming from the state.
Good.
And possibly even more than that, so.
That they want to use on the Selby building.
Right.
And I don't see that.
And that's
We won't
money
beat that enough again.
we could probably leverage for the Edmont property if we could get something going with that over.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's, so we know what's,
That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that one. Thanks.
Anybody else?
One thing, I don't know whether Jeff does this or where it comes from, but is there anything we can do about getting the trash cans off the curbs? I don't know about the other wards. First ward's terrible. We got trash can, I mean, they just leave them out there and they bring them out and they throw the trash in there and then they leave. Everything is on the curb and they never take them back away from the curb and they're just lining the streets. The good example, one of the examples is there's an apartment over here and they're sitting on the curb all the time over here. Short Locust and 8th and then down Locust, and it just looks really, really shabby. I mean, I don't know whether a letter can be put in the water bills or something saying,
There's an ordinance that they do have to go back to the house.
24 hours.
They have to be out 24 hours prior.
Right.
They can be put out but then immediately removed afterwards that same day. It doesn't give them another 24 hours.
Yeah.
So.
Or else what?
Yeah.
Or else they leave it out the next week.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It's
It's an ordinance that I'm sure if I go to Bob and say, I've got 5 people I want to charge, I'll take the trash cans back.
To me, I hate to say we got bigger fish to fry than leaving your trash can on the tree lawn, but.
But maybe a little note in the water bill, just encouraging them to please do that.
Yeah, and
Right.
that
I
there
mean,
is an
we
ordinance
can do
against it.
that.
And I have sent letters out and got people to take them off the curbs.
Mhm.
If if you got specific addresses.
A lot, right.
So you
And a
did
lot
on
of
Second
times-
Street, I know,
I took them one letter and they were gone the next.
they
week.
were
I
gone,
mean,
yeah.
Yeah, because, you threaten them with now with the nuisance ordinance with, $150 to $500, $250 fine, and it gets people's attention.
Yeah.
But whether we would ever get that out, if we charge somebody, went to court, it's doubtful.
Most of the time, if there's a neighborhood complaint, that's where we usually get the trash can.
Right.
Like I said, me personally, like I know we have way bigger, as long as there's not trash everywhere and the container's got the lid closed and it's not overflowing, to me, I don't know where the ordinance ever came from, but it was predated me and to me personally, I don't care if there's a trash can and tree lawn. Cause I know that's like, I always say I have a list of 1,000 things and that would be like 1,500 on my list of 1,000.
That's nice, I mean, but they really look nice. sitting on the
What I
curb,
would
yeah.
suggest is if you have somebody that just leaves it out there all week long and never brings it in, give those people to Jeff and let's start with those people. It's one of the people who maybe leaves it out there 2 days or 3 days,
Right.
We'll move it up on the ward priorities.
Let's
You
get rid of
can-
the
you don't have to
habitual
worry
people
about it.
that just-
No, it'd be helpful. Most definitely, it'd be helpful.
Mhm.
The other thing I'm seeing along with the trash cans, and then this might be just a pet peeve on my part, we seem to be having a lot of advertising hanger signs now in our tree lawns, businesses, and it just makes everything look seedy. And I think we need to figure out,
It's already not allowed.
So we already
Yeah,
talked
we
about that before.
already talked
we
about,
talked
because we talked about the signs for us.
and we can't.
And it was like a 30-day, I thought we talked about a
Well, we
30-day
didn't. I
window.
don't think
and
we
that
can
was-
do anything with political signs. I don't think.
No, Supreme Court ruled that you cannot.
You can't.
do anything.
Because Jeff and I talked about the advertising signs, just use them for a free billboard.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to either enforce our ordinances or take it off the books.
Yeah.
It just makes, it's seedy. It's
Yeah.
basically little islands with 3 or 4
Yeah.
hanger signs on it, let's go
all we
dance
have
at
to
Miss
do
Bobby's
is
or whatever.
Zone city right away, just down the
Just
street.
pull it.
The
Pull 'em up.
street crew Just pull them up and take them out.
That'd be.
I mean, you've got a guy that goes around the streets and checks
Yeah.
things anyway, he can grab them.
Well, let's
Take them out.
advise, or let's tell him he has
Take
to
them
do
down.
that.
Come by
So
some-
I believe that the state, I know, because, Mike said that they were pulling signs that were in the middle of the highway because they had someone hit it with a mower and it went into a side of a car. So it's
Oh.
getting, like, those things are very dangerous. So I know the state of Ohio does not allow those kind of signs.
I know in Mount Vernon, you have to get a permit every month to put little signs anywhere.
There'd be a
And I
cost
think
for that
that's
permit.
That's probably the best way to do it, but then once again.
Yeah, you gotta put
You have
your
to
house
manage
on
it.
the books.
Drive
and-
around to see who's got a
Yeah.
permit.
I think where we're gonna get into a problem, and Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's in the tree lawn, we can mandate that if it's up on their property in front of
there
their
would be
house.
different, right.
I think we don't have a sign ordinance per se.
Down there where Pleasant
Am I
Valley
right?
and Buena Vista and Cambridge Road comes out, that's like,
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
That is, so that would be township there. That's not, or.
No, that's
not-
city.
Oh,
Just
where,
past the school.
where
Yeah.
Bush is,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Bush is.
Yeah.
Dave's house
Yeah.
is right there. Yeah.
And you have the boulevard down on Third Street,
Yeah.
gathers them quite a bit.
Right.
Otsego Avenue at Seventh gathers them.
I know
Those
the
are all-
corner of Kenilworth and Cambridge are starting to,
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I just think it makes the city look pretty seedy.
I think
As
it's
do the trash
I'm gonna start stealing them all.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Trash
I'll deal with
it.
I have a related question. We have the sponsored streets now. Anybody see an activity with the so-called sponsors?
Yeah.
Not on my street.
Opportunity school, cleaned up.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the
Road Hill.
sponsor.
Well, we are, but,
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, we
Okay.
are.
But generally, the
right.
realtors are getting the free advertising,
Well, that's been brought up.
52 years,
Yeah,
weeks a
we
year.
talked about
I
that.
just.
Yeah, I know, but I was waiting for it
drove
to
a
change.
neighborhood Not too long ago, and didn't see any trash, so if you see an area, send Jeff a.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they are or they're not, because I don't know when they go and do that.
Right.
But I know I'm not seeing a lot of trash.
In my neighborhood, the families, the residences are still cleaning up the trash. I haven't seen anybody out there from a so-called sponsor since that sign went up.
Well, you know, we can, the only thing I would say is if we're gonna pull one, we need to pull them all.
Right.
How long does the sponsorship last?
We didn't put any kind of time frame. It's just, they agreed to do that. But, you know, we can pull them down if you think they're problem, but I think if we do that, we need to pull them all.
But they're actually.
It costs them nothing.
No.
We pay for the sign.
As I charge.
That or maybe just send them a message. Thanks for cleaning up. Please continue to do so as a reminder.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Was that a one-time payment? Or every year they have to renew that?
No, they don't, we pay the city in order to get the streets cleaned up. So that's,
Oh.
those signs are done. I mean.
So it's not a sponsorship as such.
No.
what's
No,
that?
city-
You're not sponsoring anything.
No, it's just a
They're not-
recognition.
They just agreed to clean.
It's just a recognition for who's doing
Yes,
it.
for who's doing it.
We're not doing it.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
I mean, you know, Kane, there's other communities that are doing the same that
Oh,
have
yeah.
done it, and that's where it came from.
It was a great concept.
We can
I
always
think it
shame
is.
them.
I mean,
Always publicly shame the organizations or people personally.
I don't think we want to do
I don't
that.
think we
Well,
wanna
that's
go
what some
there.
people were doing by hanging trash on their signs.
Probably, yeah.
One bad apple can't ruin a whole bunch, Glenn, so we'll have to just.
Now, you
let it
just
be.
told us from inside out it does.
Right. Well, I didn't say anything about the other apples. being
All right.
around, bro.
So, council, you guys also got your income tax report emailed from
Yes.
Jackie Cushman. So, 6:40, meet in chambers in 20 minutes.
Do we have a public hearing today?
Oh, I don't think so.
All right.
Thought I read that somewhere for the door.
The door.
No,
Okay, I read that
it's
somewhere.
not on the agenda.
When can we do that?
We had one last week.
I'm doing good. How about you? They spent plenty of money. On my wife.
Once I get over. Oh, am I supposed to remember that? Is it our Good evening, everybody. Today is Monday, November 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m. It's a regular scheduled Shopkins City Council meeting. Call to order, clerk. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Here.
Barcroft. Here. Gross. Here. Johnson. Here. Mishler. Here. Moore. Here. Turner.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge. Please stand for verification. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for invitation. Lord, we thank you again for the opportunity to serve this community. Guide and direct us in everything we say and do tonight. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Minutes, council, your email the minutes from the October 25th council meeting. You guys have any questions or comments?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Motion by Andrews, seconded by Mishler. Moore, call the roll, please.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft, I was not present at that meeting, so I'll abstain.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Wasn't at the meeting
Mishler.
Approved, yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Public input, we have guests here, Coshocton and Bloom. Mr. Hetty, come up to the microphone, please.
I'm doing very good, Mr. President. My name is Tom Heading. I live on Arrowhead, 1222 Arrowhead Drive. Representing Coshocton and Bloom. And I have with me Deb Gomer. She's also the Coshocton and Bloom committee. Coshocton and Bloom is celebrating its 10th anniversary in submitting the city of Coshocton to compete in the American and Bloom program. There are 7 categories we compete in, but the most visible one right now are the flowers. And we won many awards with the flowers. And loud enough. Okay, thank you. Oh, that's what I sound like. So we've competed many 10 years in the Coshocton and Bloom program, and even won the best floral display 4 years ago. And this year we also submitted in the Kids America to the best sports complex, and they won this year. Really? So Coshocton was really hitting the map. But over the years, we've put in more and more flowers and more flower pots. And we have been using the greenhouse at the garden patch for growing seedlings and the plants put out. And we've expanded beyond their ability to let us use their greenhouse. So we had purchased property on Bedman Avenue, the old Clary Forest, at 1100 Bedman Avenue. And we're starting to do groundbreaking. And we're hoping to have the greenhouse stuff going this, building this week. Right? Thursday, November. And I'll let Deb tell you about the greenhouse and the progress that's going on right now.
So, I've got to look at my notes because there's a lot going on. And touch some of it. So as you all know, Coshocton will purchase the property in spring with the goal of building 2 30 by 96 foot long polycarbonate greenhouses to grow for CIP, city, and prairie gardens. We did this with the help of individuals, the foundations, Rotary, private individuals. So what we're doing on the property right now is when we purchased it, the old floral florist building was there. So we removed it. We had Albert remove all the trees and the stumps. Then we went to the Stormwater and asked for a plan, especially for our drainage and what we were going to do with the greenhouse runoff in the water. So he came up with a plan, Brian. So we come up with a plan that we raise the property and have a footfall to the existing, it's an existing drainage ditch along the railroad there. It's been there for years. So by building greenhouses east and west and raising the soil, we're not going to have to tap into the stormwater drainage, which is a big plus. So eventually we're probably going to put cisterns in and catch that roof water and reuse it in the greenhouse. Now, as we water in the greenhouse, the floor is permeable, so everything is filtered down into the ground. So we're not going to even have runoff there. So I'm excited about that. There's a lot of buzz, what's going on with the property. I think a lot of people are excited. It's not a retail house. It's all, for us. The start date's November 11th, hopefully with weather, and date's December 15th. We hope, we will be thinking for this spring in those greenhouses.
You said that, who are you gonna grow there for?
It's Coshocton and Bloom,
You said 3 names, didn't you?
City, and Clary Gardens.
I would just like to say I'd like to applaud what you guys have done over the summer. Actually, with flowers across the bridge were probably the most talked about thing. People came to see me and they didn't even care that they came to see me because they were like, those flowers are way more beautiful than you are. And genuinely, it just has added like a whole layer of, oh my goodness, when you come to Coshocton. So
Coshocton cares. That's the bottom line.
It definitely, and I want to thank you for your organization and what you've done to just beautify your part, to beautify downtown and the bridge and now Roscoe. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also want to thank you, the city employees, whenever we ask them to do and help, they're always there to do that. They helped hang the baskets, take them down, transport pots around the city. They've been a big help, so thank you.
they did all the work, so I'll tell them you said thank you.
All right, anything else?
Yeah. So when we were looking to tear down the old Clary building, we found out it had some asbestos in it. And so we had torn down and the asbestos remediated. We also removed all the trees from that drainage. Some of those are quite large. We even removed a maple tree, I believe it was, that was interfering with power lines and actually had scorched leaves from hitting the power.
Yes.
So when we were talking to Mark Mills originally, he said there might be some funds to help us on the demolition of the building license. So I'm not sure what that would be called, but Mark said we would have to ask city council to transfer those funds for the building removal.
What's the, what are they, how much are they looking for?
18,000 something.
Yeah, I think it's right under 19,000. Right at, I have it on my desk. I'm uncertain, 18 to 19,000.
That can be paid directly
For the Shopkins and more.
to.
So I suggested they came and told you what was going on with the project. That way, if you were aware of what was going on. If you have any questions, feel free to, I think it's a great organization.
No question.
Great job.
No, you guys do a great job.
Thank you. It makes us a better place to show off and we have friends and family visit the show.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, is there money?
Yeah, I
Somewhere.
would, I talked with Jeff and, there's the property maintenance line in the general fund. And there's enough appropriations in there to make that donation. I would just recommend that you state your amount and then just, approve it in the minutes that you would like to make that donation since they're a 501c3, if that's correct. And at least have it noted in there. So I would just, and then CIB can just get me an invoice. And then
I think this
can
is,
pay it, but
okay, I think this is something we're, next committee meeting, we can discuss and go from there. Okay,
Thanks.
thanks again, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other public input? Okay, we have some requests for additions to the agenda. Ordinance 4721, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and service director to sign a memorandum of understanding for the property code investigators insurance for the month of January 2022. Ordinance 48-21, an ordinance authorizing the service director to advertise for bids and let contracts for sludge removal for the water plant and wastewater plant. Ordinance 52-21, an ordinance to adopt the UG policies for the city of Coshocton. I need a motion to add the listed ordinances to the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Moore, seconded by Johnson. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler. Yes. Moore. Yes. Turner.
yes.
Mary, you have anything else to add from the committee meeting since you've had it off week?
Just the positives going on around town. I want to congratulate everyone who ran for an elected position. Some people won, some people didn't win. Just to put your name out there and try to better your community. Very proud. I know school board races had contested in council. Just want to thank everyone who, whose heart is in the community and they want to become involved to make it a better place to live. Also, the teachers union agreement with the Coshocton City Schools. I'm glad everything played out the way it did. Not really proud that it went to the point that it did, but I'm glad we have a resolution to that issue. And our kids are in school and things are on the right track there. Also, library, justice center, career center, and EMS levies passing shows that our community supports these areas and want to let the public know that I know everyone in charge of each and every one of these organizations, and they do a hell of a job every day, day in and day out, and want people to know that their money is being well spent. And if they don't think it is, then the public needs to become involved with the people leading those organizations. So, in my dealings with everyone, talked to 3 of the 4 people in charge of those organizations on election night, and they were more than happy to receive funding for all of those organizations. I want to remind the public, Veterans Day is this Thursday, the 11th, 11 a.m. at the Court Square. There will be services. So invite the community to come out, support the veterans. You know, some gave all, and sometimes we think we have it bad, but you know, going to fight for your country and not coming back is definitely pretty worthy cause. So that we're all here today thinking that we have issues, and some people never came back home. So I really think would like to see a large turnout Thursday at the Court Square to honor our veterans, and want to thank our veterans for the sacrifice that they gave. And if anyone has any questions, I have Google and I will answer all of them.
There you go. Very intelligent. Do you have any questions for the mayor? Max, you have anything to add?
Nothing, not a lot further from the committee, other than I did not bring up about repairs are going on the Main Street Railroad crossing this week. Hopefully they'll be out by the end of the week. We do have the Christmas parade on December 18th, I believe. 19th, sorry, Tom, 19th, Miracle on Main, I guess is the actual name of it. November 19th, I say December. No, I'm sorry. And then December 11th will be the oral boards for the fire chief position. So hopefully by December 12th, we'll have a new fire chief in place, start to move her out. So I do appreciate Rick Mills for filling in all this time. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions?
Do you have anything for Max? Law director, counselor emailed the law director's report. Does anybody have any questions? Bob, do you have anything to add?
I've been debating telling you this for about 5 years, and don't worry, I'm not retiring. This seems to be the appropriate meeting since there are so many ordinances that you intend to suspend the rules and give it a second or third or whatever. In my reading of the law, I see nothing that requires you to make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second reading and then a vote and then another motion to suspend the rules and give it. I think you can just simply make one motion to suspend the rules and give it a second and third reading, read it one more time and vote on it if you want to. You can continue to do it the way you want to or the way you have been doing it. But I've looked at this thing for a long time and I find nothing in the law that requires us to do it the way you do it, other than you've been doing it that way for 30 some years, at least as long as I've been here.
Sub clerk would appreciate that.
To me, it's a tedious exercise that does nothing to further the legislation. I think you ought to make one motion to suspend the rules, give it a second and third reading, read appropriations, then give it a third reading, appropriations, and then vote on it, if that's what you want to do. But again, you are free to do it the way you want to do it.
I'll try to stumble through that. Thank you. Okay. Auditor's report. Counselor emailed the following. You have the manual policy from the auditor for spending federal dollars, detailed check report for October 5th, detailed check report for October 14th, then and now report for October 14th, detailed check report for 10/20. Then and now report for 10/28, detailed trial balance for 10/29, and a statement of cash for 10/29. If I have any questions for the auditor,
Make a motion.
do you have anything else?
No, just that one detailed check report, 10/28, you got that. Instead of
Yes.
10/20, yeah. Make a motion, we accept the auditor's report.
Motion by Andrews, seconded by Barcroft. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft, yes, Rose,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes, Turner.
Yes.
Sheriff's report, you emailed the Sheriff's Report Council. The call count went up. The list keeps getting longer. When I look at that, pages go from 6 or 7, now they're up to like 15. So, anybody have any questions for the sheriff?
Appreciate the report. It's very detailed and I like it. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Sheriff, you have anything else?
I do. Two things. First, I want to publicly thank each and every one of you for approving the city contract for the next 3 years. We definitely appreciate it, and I wanted you to know that coming from me. I look forward to working very well with council and Mayor Mills and Max Brown and accomplishing what we're all after. Number two, we're building a jail. Thank you all.
Thank you.
It's been a long process, and I look in the next 2 years is going to be busy around Coshocton. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of people coming into the community, a lot of construction going on, and I can't thank you enough for supporting the Justice Center. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations as well. I know you worked very hard at that. And took up a lot of your time, but it was well worth it. So
It was all good. I
Yes.
loved it.
Hey, you're welcome for the rest.
I am, yeah.
Okay, property code. Jeff, you have anything to add?
You should receive my report first of the month. I have nothing to add, but I'll answer any questions.
Have any questions for Jeff?
That's it.
Does anybody else have anything?
I want to add, date and 9th pre-construction meetings this coming Friday. We'll get the detailed schedule then when that project's going to start. But county commissioners coordinating that, but that'll be this Friday, the pre-construction of the contractor to get that project moving forward.
Any questions? Nothing else? We'll move into legislation. Okay, here we go. Okay, legislation first reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the first reading of ordinance 47-21.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and service director to sign a memorandum of understanding for the property code investigators insurance for the month of January 2022.
For the first reading of ordinance 47-21, are there any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second and third reading.
I'll second.
Johnson made the motion. Turner Keenan's seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Rose. Yes. Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler. Yes. Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of ordinance 47-21.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and service director to sign a memorandum of understanding for the property code investigators insurance for the month of January 2022.
Questions? Mr. Moore, please give the third reading of ordinance 47-21.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and service director to sign a memorandum of understanding for the property code investigators insurance for the month of January 2022.
For the third reading of ordinance 47-21. Question is, should ordinance 47-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the first reading of ordinance 48-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to advertise for bids and let contracts for the sludge removal for the water plant and wastewater plant.
For the first reading of ordinance 48-21. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second and third reading.
Motion. Barcroft seconded, second and third reading. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Moore, please give the second reading of ordinance 48-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to advertise for bids and let contracts for the sludge removal for the water plant and wastewater plant.
Moore, please give the third reading of ordinance 48-21.
An ordinance authorizing the service director to advertise for bids and let contracts for the sludge removal for the water plant and wastewater plant.
Heard the third reading of ordinance 48-21. Question is, should ordinance 48-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 48-21 is passed. Legislation at first reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the first reading of ordinance 49-21.
In order to appropriate funds for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of Coshocton, state of Ohio for January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022.
For the first reading of 49-21, any questions or comments? Ordinance will take its course. Legislation at the first reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give a first reading of ordinance 50-21.
Transfers.
Heard the first reading of 50-21. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second and third reading. Second.
Andrew, do the motion. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Moore to give 50-21 a second reading.
Transfers.
Mr. Moore, please give the third reading.
Transfers.
I'll ask, heard the third reading. 50-21. The question is, should ordinance 50-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 50-21 is passed. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the first reading of ordinance 51-21.
Appropriations.
For the first reading of 51-21. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second, third reading.
Motion.
I'll second that.
Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Appropriations. Oh. Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of 51-21.
Appropriations.
Mr. Moore, please give the third reading.
Appropriations.
For the third reading of 51-21, the question is, should ordinance 51-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Legislation still at the first reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the first reading of ordinance 52-21.
In order to adopt UG policies for the city of Coshocton.
For the first reading of 52-21, any questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second and third reading.
Johnson made a motion.
Second.
Barcroft seconded. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Yes. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Moore to give the second reading of 52-21.
In order to adopt UG policies for the city of Coshocton.
Mr. Moore, give the third reading, please.
In order to adopt UG policies for the city of Coshocton.
For the third reading, 52-21, the question is, should ordinance 52-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Legislation at second reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of ordinance 44-21.
In order to amend the city of Coshocton codified ordinance title 3 utilities chapters 933, 934, 35, 36, 37, 39, 43, 47, and 53.
Questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
I'll second.
Motion, Andrew seconded. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
For the third reading of 44-21, the question is, should ordinance 44-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews,
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 44-21 is passed. Legislation at second reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of 45-21.
Transfers.
For the second reading of ordinance 45-21, any questions or comments?
Mr. President. That ordinance needs to be.
We need to amend, sorry, we need to amend 45-21. We need to
I'll make a motion.
delete.
I'll make a
Section-
motion, we amend and delete section 6. Is that correct?
Second.
Mr. Moore made a motion to amend and delete section 6. Johnson seconded. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of 45-21.
Transfers.
For the second reading of ordinance 45-21, any questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
Johnson,
I'll second.
Andrew seconded. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give 45-21 a third reading. Oh, wait a minute, I'll call the roll. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Moore, please give a third reading.
Appropriation or transfer.
For the third reading of 45-21, the question is, should 45-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Ordinance 45-21 is passed. Legislation is second reading. I'll ask Mr. Moore to give the second reading of ordinance 46-21.
Appropriations.
You've heard the second reading of ordinance 46-21. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
Johnson.
I'll second.
Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Mr. Moore to give the ordinance 46-21 a third reading.
Appropriations.
For the third reading of 46-21. Question is, should ordinance 46-21 pass? Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Barcroft. Yes. Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
yes,
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Third reading of resolutions. Communications, as I stated in one from me, I know that as I stated in the committee meeting, Coshocton Opportunity School will be doing their second annual Dress Up Coshocton on Main Street, where they hang coats, socks, gently used hats, gloves from the trees for anyone to come by and pick up for their needs. We'll be doing that on December 13th, beginning at 4:30. The school will take donations of gently used, gently or new coats, hats, gloves, scarves, socks. You can drop those off at the fourth floor of Coshocton High School on December 6th and 7th between 3 and 6 p.m. I know if you have any questions, you can contact Diana McKee at 622-3600. Make arrangements to drop off donations. A lot of good things going on in our city. Does anybody else have anything? Council? Mr. Moore, what is the date and time of our next meeting?
It's to be November 22nd at 7 p.m.
Committee at 5:30. I need a motion for our meeting to be adjourned.
So moved.
Mishler.
I'll second.
Moore second. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Andrews.
Yes.
Parkcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. Mishler.
Yes.
Moore, yes. Turner.
Yes.
Adjourned.
Doctor, I know you.